Okay, it's a couple of minutes past 9. Let's start. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this online event of the Materials and Embodied Carbon Leaders Alliance, MECLA. This is our last event of the year, and we're shining a spotlight on regenerative materials and hearing how government and industry are exploring how different existing materials can adapt, what emerging biophilic and regenerative materials are entering the market, and the role government can play in accelerating research and development and commercialisation. My name is Hudson Worsley from Precinct, and I have the great pleasure of being the chair of MECLA and of hosting today's event. We're coming to the end of the year, and as we do that, the parents online know that this means it's time for school speech night. I attended my daughter's speech night last week, and although I wasn't really looking forward to a long night of speeches and prizes and endless clapping, the keynote speaker made the evening worthwhile. Her name was Teela Reid, the human rights lawyer and Indigenous woman and strong advocate for the Uluru Statement from the Heart and the Voice to Parliament. She spoke with a compelling blend of intellect and emotion. Her call to action to support constitutional recognition of Australia's First People was profound. So, as we head towards a referendum in the year to come, I would like to acknowledge that we are all on Indigenous land, and I pay my respect to elders past and present, and welcome any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. 2022 has been a very busy year for MECLA. We've held 8 events in 3 states, and this is our 9th. We've released the discussion paper on upfront carbon standards, measurement methods, benchmarking and resources for construction materials, buildings and infrastructure. Boy, that's a long title. A big thank you to Working Group 2 for their ceaseless motivation to deliver that discussion paper. Please have a look in the chat. We'll put the link in there to that discussion paper, and it has an accompanying survey to help inform our next steps. That survey closes on the 15th of December, so please, after this event, get cracking, have a look at it and have your say. We've held deep dive events on low emission aluminium. We've launched a working group for the residential building sector, and just yesterday held the inaugural meeting of the engineered timber working group. We've hosted over 1,500 attendees at our various events and issued 582 CPD points to build professional capacity in our sector. Our national reach is increasing, which is vital. As we all know, the challenge of embodied carbon knows no borders. I'd like to say a very big thank you to our founding partners and members. MECLA is an alliance. That's the A in MECLA. We're an alliance of over 140 organisations. It's the members' willingness to contribute time, intellectual effort and funding to a common objective that makes MECLA work. That objective, of course, is to bring the embodied emissions in the construction materials onto a trajectory consistent with the Paris Agreement. MECLA is a do tank. We say that a lot. That means it's all about action. We're sharing knowledge across the construction ecosystem to overcome the barriers to take up of low emission materials. My colleague Kati Verheyen from Climate Kick is preparing our report for the year in review for release in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for our own report card on MECLA's achievements in 2022. Now, turning to the inevitable mechanics of this session. We are recording this event, and recordings of all events are on our website for future reference. This event, we have over 290 registered attendees. Welcome to everybody. And online, please keep your microphone muted. Use the chat function for comments and questions. MECLA events often have a very lively dialogue going on there, so we welcome that. Thank you. We'll be fielding questions at the end in our discussion section. I've mentioned CPD points. This event, like all our others, qualifies for 1 CPD point from the Green Building Council for live attendance online. Please let the MECLA Secretariat know if you haven't already at the registration stage. As always, I would like to remind all MECLA members and attendees today of our governance requirements. MECLA does not tolerate any anti-competitive behaviour. We operate in a pre-competition environment, And if you're aware of any conflicts of interest, please speak up and we may adjust accordingly. Now to business. And it's so timely that we're meeting today to discuss this topic. As COP15, the United Nations Biodiversity Conference, has just begun in Montreal, Canada. Today, we're joined by a wonderful panel of speakers with deep experience in the field to help us explore the emerging world of regenerative materials. We'll hear from each of our speakers and then come together for a panel discussion to answer questions and discuss. Sonia Auld, Group Technical Director Services at School Infrastructure New South Wales, will take us through the New South Wales Department of Education's vision for materials innovation. Tina Fox and Isabella Peppard-Clark will give us an update from Architects Declare on the development of guidance on better material specification. Amanda Sturgeon, the CEO of Built by Nature, will discuss the mobilising of regenerative bio-based materials. Jennifer Snyders, the CEO at House of Bamboo, will tell us how bamboo can re-engineer our future. And Chan Hoi from Swinburne University will discuss the biodigital future. What a lineup. So, Sonia, can I hand over to you as our first speaker?
Certainly. Thank you all very much for having me here today. So as Hudson mentioned, I'm joining on behalf of the Department of Education. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm coming to you today from the Gadigal land, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Today was an opportunity to share some of the work that the department's doing in relation to materials innovation. But before we get into that, I just wanted to step back and just give everybody the context of the department and what we do. So obviously, the Department of Education looks after the 2,200 schools operated by the government in New South Wales. And at the moment, we're going through an enormous investment in new infrastructure within schools. At the moment, I think there's a commitment of $17.7 billion in new school infrastructure, of which about 6 or 7 is still to come in the coming future years. The department, as I mentioned, has 2,200 schools. We have 800,000 students. We have about 120,000 employees. And at the moment, there's about 90 to 100 major redevelopments happening across the state. So what we've been doing is asking ourselves, what more can we do with this investment and how can we maximise the value of that investment the state's making for the students, but also for New South Wales and the broader community. And we've got really one big attribute to offer, and that's our size and scale, as you can mention, as you can understand from that, those contexts of how big the department is. So we've kind of been looking at this from 2 perspectives. The first is our sustainability ambitions, but also our approach and our sort of evolution in the way we're delivering schools in relation to modern methods of construction. We launched our commitment to sustainability in November this year, with a really strong ambition to strive for quality education at the same time as protecting the environment, helping drive economic prosperity and communities to thrive. And what we see our big opportunity in this space, not just to support students and staff, but also to look at how we change and evolve our practices to support these ambitions, and then what our role is as a government agency to inspire others, both within government, but also in the private sector. Our commitment covers 5 key sustainability priorities and 9 goals that we're looking to progress by 2030. Our priorities are very broad, as you can imagine, given the nature of what we do. Unlock human potential, foster connections, act on climate change, consume responsibly, and build resilience. And when we're looking at materials innovation, we're really linking to all of those priorities, really, and looking at how our decisions we make in terms of the materials we buy can help support all of those priority areas. In our goals, we have things like as you could imagine, in relation to reducing our impact on the environment and supporting sustainability in schools. But an important one to call out is goal number 7, which is that we want to demonstrate leadership by investing in innovation. And the way we do that, and the way we intend to do that, is looking at opportunities like these materials innovations where government can play a role in supporting industry to progress. We also have had an incredible journey over the last couple of years progressing towards modern methods of construction. And this is unlocking an enormous amount of opportunity for us to drive that innovation. The ambitions with modern methods of construction, or MMC, is about being able to rapidly deliver high quality, efficient and sustainable infrastructure for schools. Speed is really important to us given the nature of the constructions and the timeframes we've got and the interactions we have with schools. So the aim of this program and this transition that we're going through is to create an emerging and competitive market for modern methods of construction and help upskill industry, developing capability in this area that can be applied in other sectors and other applications. Look at risk allocation and the role government can play in managing risk, and hopefully increase the quality and safety of the delivery of infrastructure. The benefits, and the most significant benefit for us, is actually speed. Oops, my screen's doing something funny there. Sorry, everybody. Is that happening to anybody else? Sorry, my screen's shaking. I'll happily ignore it if that's not.
All fine for us.
Oh, okay,
Sonia.
if it's fine for everybody else, then I will just ignore it. I don't know what's going on with my screen. So the benefits for us are speed for construction, as you can imagine, when we're developing in school environments where we've got existing schools under operation. The ability for us to deliver infrastructure quickly is quite important. We're able to reduce the environmental impacts by really only building materials and using materials that we need, and really streamlining the delivery process to reduce our environmental impacts. We're seeing great new jobs created and expanding of local trades, particularly in regional areas, and improved safety or outcomes as a result of less on-site construction and more construction in the security and safety of a warehouse setting. What we're seeing here is the standardization of building components is a significant progress that we've made. So we actually have standard designs now for all of our schools' componentry, and we're building a kit of parts to help support that. What that means is a greater ability to replace or alternate materials in that kit of parts and test new solutions. The prioritisation at the moment is looking at utilising a pavilion model for the installation of schools, which means a whole lot of reduced infrastructure in the ground when it comes to actually building the buildings and the classrooms. And the first one we've delivered has been done at Fernbait Public School, just past Newcastle. So when it comes to materials innovation, we've got a vision for the future, which looks at, how do we make sure that the materials we select are equipping students with the, sorry, this screen is really crazy. Apologies, everybody. Oops. I might stop sharing and reshare. I'm really sorry about this, everyone, but I can't actually see. It's shaking so much now. I can't actually see the screen. So let's just try this again.
Sure, no worries, Sonia. Take your time.
Get it to work. There we go. That's much better. I was going to start feeling like I was on a boat. It was shaking sideways. So we're looking at evolving our approach to materials. So this includes looking at what we need to do to help support the next generation of Australians. We're very cognizant and living through the challenges of some bad decisions probably made historically when it comes to hazardous materials and the implication that has on a large asset portfolio. So very cognizant of making sure that we're very confident around materials selection.
Sonia, just so you know that you're on slide 6. We can see slide 6.
Yes, no, that's fine. I've got it. Lovely.
Right.
Thank you, Monica. Yep, I think it's working fine now. We're looking at how we return investment in the community and making sure that the investment in those infrastructure is delivering holistically for safe materials, safe for all species, ones that are regenerative, that reduce the need or concern around materials waste or end of life, the ones that reflect our modern methods of construction, the ones that integrate with digital technology and that help fuel competitive New South Wales industry. So what we're seeking and what we're trying to do, I guess, as an agency is really trying to learn more from industry at the moment to really define and confirm what our approach will be moving forward. We're seeking to understand what processes or what new materials may be underway, what benefits, costs and obstacles might be in place to impact those, and what role government can play to help accelerate the development and delivery of these innovative materials. So what we're asking, or what we'd love to hear from this group, is we have a survey that we have out, which we'll pop in the chat, that we're really keen to seek input from others about what is happening, what you've got going on, that we might need, or you can be aware of and help support or understand more about where the industry is at the moment. We've got running some sessions next week, some in-depth sessions to have a really good dialogue around some of these questions and where things are moving. And we'd really appreciate it if this group could spread the word so that we can learn from others. I think the next few months for us is really about understanding where industry is at and getting a better indication of what role we might be able to play as government to support the progress of this really important area. So thank you all so much for your time today, and I look forward to questions at